Hello everybody, Lisa Salvatore here. We are talking about the full moon energy that we're under it already, but the full moon takes place on October 20th, 10:57 a.m. Eastern Time. October, as we know, has definitely been a month of a lot of moving parts and a lot of shaking and shifting and epiphanies and feelings of just, being held in place when we actually want to propel forward. And we have been under a lot of retrograde energy, as we know. On September the 10th, Saturn stationed direct. And as I'm recording this video, today is October the 16th, and Jupiter is about to station direct as well on the 17th or 18th, depending on what part of the world that you're in. And so remember, when planets are getting ready to switch position, switch signs, they slow down and pivot, and their energy is felt in a much more potent manner. And oftentimes it can be very subtle. So we feel something, we may feel off, we may feel stressed out, we may feel frazzled, lots of different things, lots of different ways that you can experience this energy. And maybe you don't even really consciously recognize that this is what's going on. But October has felt like this in a very big way. It's just, there's a lot, and there's definitely this feeling of just exhaustion, and that should start to hopefully pick up some speed. However, again, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything's going to magically be amazing as we get through October. And, if it is for you, that is awesome. That is amazing. And if it's not, just know that you're not alone, that a lot of people are feeling this way. There's a lot going on for everyone personally. I've been working with a lot of different people. And, again, it's important to go easy on ourselves during these times of tremendous uncertainty, and, both on the physical, emotional, internal level, and then also, the external level. Circumstances are constantly changing. Everything going on around us is constantly changing, and our feelings are changing. Our belief systems are changing. Lots of things are changing or being restructured to work in a different way. But at the bottom of all of that, it's important to keep in mind that the end game for that is to bring you to your true self, to your true nature. When you think about spirituality on a much grander scale, that is what being spiritual is really all about. It's about being true to your spirit. It doesn't mean that you're happy all the time. It doesn't mean that you don't curse. It doesn't mean that you don't eat meat. All of that stuff, it's just an antiquated belief system about spirituality and about faith. And the bottom line is that whatever is speaking to your spirit, that is your faith, that is your spirituality, and that is allowed to undergo changes. No one says you have to always believe the same thing, or that however you were raised, that's all you can believe, because that's ridiculous to actually think that if you feel one way but your belief systems are such of a completely different manner, and then now you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and you're feeling a totally different way, but you're logically blocking yourself from that because of old beliefs. It's important to know that the purpose of being here in this lifetime and on this earth is to grow, it is to change, it is to expand, and it is to come into your own true self, your own true nature of the spiritual being that you are. And I want to mention that because, maybe it's because Jupiter is about to station direct, and Jupiter is the guru planet of, spirituality and expansion and our belief systems and all of that stuff. Maybe that's why I'm bringing this up today. I don't know. I'm just feeling very guided to talk about this because it's been coming up a lot lately. And as Jupiter stations direct, there's going to be this light bulb moment that could go off for you. Maybe things that you've always believed are shifting now and changing. Or maybe you're willing to look at something from a totally different perspective than you had previously looked at it from. And I think that that's a beautiful thing, to be open-minded, to be introspective, to allow other people to disagree with you politely, right? Remember, Mars is in Libra. We just started a new Mars cycle for the next little over 2 years. And this is going to all be about bringing things into balance and fighting for what we believe in, and, wanting to get on the same page with others. So there's a lot of good to come of this, but it's important to remember that everybody is operating out of a different space. Everybody is operating from whatever place they're coming from childhood conditioning, from their belief systems that they were brought up within, and now where they're at today and what they've gone through to change their trajectory. And remember, this is very personal for everybody. And we really have to keep sight of that because there's so much arguing, fighting going on. I see it on the internet. I don't get involved in it, honestly. I can't even believe some of the things that I read sometimes, and it literally takes so much restraint for me not to comment, but it's not worth it because, again, everybody's coming at the same thing from a totally different perspective, and we need to keep that in perspective. Anyway, so as Jupiter stations direct, keep this in mind that there's going to probably be a growth pattern that you're recognizing within yourself, and that can be a really beautiful thing, and allowing yourself and allowing others the space to change and to grow. And don't get defensive about it. Just know that this is life, right? This is life here as we know it. We're all in it together, right? A big question to ask yourself under this energy, not just the full moon, but just the energy that we've been under in general. A big question to ask yourself is, am I in my truth? Is what I'm doing truly conducive to who I am authentically in all of my glory when I'm by myself and when I'm with others? Am I in my integrity? Am I in my truth? And if you're not, you're going to feel that. You're going to reflect upon that, and no judgment, right? You just have to get to, well, what is blocking me from being in my truth? What is stopping me from living my life the way I really want to? And, sometimes there are literal legitimate reasons why you can't do certain things. I get that. But being honest about it with yourself is such a huge step. And I think that under this energy, it's really important to stop and ask yourself about where you're at on your journey. And are you happy with it, right? And this goes way beyond the three-dimensional mundane things such as your everyday job. Or, this is deeper than that. This is like, am I walking my talk? Am I speaking my truth? Am I really acting out of my heart space and my heart center? Or am I doing what others have asked me to do when I feel otherwise? Am I going against what I feel? Again, this is a lot deeper than just the surface stuff right now. And when and if obstacles present themselves, which they invariably always do, the important thing to remember is where your strengths lie, and positive affirmations do help, and honing in on and honoring your courage for what it is, and where are your strong points. So it's about self-talk in a kind manner of looking to what it is that you enjoy about yourself that actually helps you get things going, because there is going to be some of that for everybody. And don't sit there and say, I don't have these capabilities, because you do. We all do. We just sometimes have to dig a little deeper to get to them, especially when we are under this kind of energy. We're all resourceful beings, and we know how to do things. We know how to get things done for ourselves when we need to, and when the adrenaline is just so to remind us where we need to do these things, and where even anger, because Mars is anger as well, right? So if something's making us angry, it's important to look at that and to what's fueling that, and to use that fuel constructively to solve problems. That's being resourceful with what we've got. It doesn't have to be fighting. It just has to be about looking inward. Whatever's irritating you, there's something there that needs to be explored. And so maybe using that under this energy. Now remember, we're also still dealing with Pluto and Aries, okay? We have that Pluto-Aries square, Pluto in Capricorn squaring off with Aries in Libra. It's an energy we've been under all of 2021. We just had an exact square on October the 9th. We are still under that energy. We've got Mars in Libra, opposite Aries in Aries, which is also conjunct the moon in Aries, okay? So let's remember that this volatile energy is still very much present, okay? And this is a time of where verbal lash outs can happen in, I wanna say like very unexpectedly, which is why it's really important to pay extra close attention to only what you can do, because again, you can only control you, right? You can't control others, you can't control what's outside of you, you can control your own reactions. So it's important to be constantly in that space of where you're recognizing your own triggers, so that if and when you do have to have a confrontation of some sort, you can try to retain some sort of peace and calm throughout the situation. Because again, this energy is promoting the opposite. It's promoting the hot buttons being pressed and, flying off the handle and saying things that you could potentially regret, especially when it comes to your loved ones. You don't want to say hurtful things in a moment of anger and frustration, even if you feel them on a very deep level. You don't always have to verbalize them. It's important to, you may want to go inward with this energy again and see where it's coming from, because that's constructive. Lashing out usually is not. Usually it's not. Of course, if you need to speak up for yourself against some sort of an injustice that someone has done to you, that's a little bit of a different story. Again, every circumstance is, everything's different and personal. You get the gist of what I'm saying. Now let's remember too, we've got some positive energy lurking around this full moon. Now on the positive side, because this is an Aries full moon, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and Aries is cardinal fire. Aries is a sign that acts. Aries is a sign that does things, moves, gets things going, has courage, is brave, is passionate, doesn't necessarily give up. So with all of this charged up energy, you can use that as a superpower to get projects completed where you may have lost steam, to get some physical activity out, to do some extra work with this extra energy. So that's very positive in order to work with this in its highest advantage, right? Now, this full moon is opposite Mars, okay? And again, Mars is tremendous energy. Mars is currently in Libra. Mars is the ruling planet of Aries. So again, we were dealing with this feeling of blazing the trail, setting forth, using our own personal integrity, our courage, our passions to fuel us to understand more about what our own true needs are, our own true nature, and what do we need to do to get to that. And also what is standing in our way of that could be released. This is in the form of behaviors. This could be in the form of circumstances, relationships. You will know because it will be personal for you, but this is going to be a feeling that we are all experiencing at this time. I'm sorry if the video just did something strange, but I was in the middle of recording and I watched a branch fall off of my neighbor's tree and almost hit their house. So I had to stop for a second because it distracted me. It's fine, but I just had to stop. Okay, so what I was saying was how important it is to illuminate. Remember, full moons are always about illumination and reflecting back at us what it is that we're holding on to that could be released and needs to be let go of for future growth, for transcendence, for all of that, and to come more into our true spiritual nature. So this full moon takes place at 27 degrees, 26 minutes of Aries. Aries is the opposite sign of Libra where the sun is at. Full moons are always when the sun and moon are in opposite positions in the sky. And full moons are the point of the lunar cycle that bring everything up. Emotions get very high. Everything surges with full moon energy. Now, the cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, are going to be feeling this energy the strongest and likely have been feeling this energy the strongest, especially those that have degrees of the major points and planets, the sun, the moon, the ascendant. I'll even go with the north node. Any of those major planets or points, if they are between 23 and 29 degrees of any of the cardinal signs, specifically, especially I should say Libra, you're going to be feeling this energy very, very strongly. It could feel very anxiety producing, for better or worse. Your nervous system can feel really jolted and on edge. So just, if you are feeling that way, just breathe, relax, take a chill pill, try not to push yourself past, exhaustion. Not the time to do that. Also, if you're between 0 and 1 degrees of any of the fixed signs, okay, in any of the major planets in your chart, which would be Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius, you're also going to be impacted strongly by this energy. Let me be clear. Everybody is impacted by this energy, but when you have certain points and planets that are indicative of this energy, even in a much more stronger manner, you will feel that. So you may want to go look to your chart and see what you've got going on or what you know offhand, because again, and you'll know by how you're feeling. Now, what I'm actually going to do is show you the chart because I'm finally learning my fancy schmancy camera over here, my camera tricks, and apparently all the cool kids are doing this. So I'm going to show you the astrology chart of this full moon in Aries on October the 20th, 10:57 a.m. Eastern Time. I used Washington as the place to cast the chart. You see up here, we've got the sun at 27 degrees of Libra, opposite this full moon at 27 degrees of Aries. And then we've got Eris, our little instigator, very, very close to this moon, ramping up the emotionality of chaos and discordia, right? Like wanting to set the record straight, poking at us, at our insecurities and our deepest emotions. And hey, are you going to let them do that to you? Or, a little bit of an instigator here of an energy. It can feel very emotional, very sensitive. And Eris also opposite Mars here in Libra and the sun. So again, this is emphasized, volatility, let's just say. We've got Mercury up here at 10 degrees of Libra, not really involved too much with the full moon, but it's in the background, in the periphery, because Mercury at 10 degrees of Libra is actually opposite Chiron at 9 degrees of Aries. So it's almost in an exact opposition. And with this comes a vulnerability. With this comes a sense of wanting to heal from things that you may or may not discuss. Remember, Mercury is the mind. It's how we think. It's also how we communicate. So this could be a very healing aspect to this full moon about whatever it is that is coming up for you. Now, also, we've got a wide, but it's here. We've got a trine between Jupiter in Libra, which is now direct. I'm sorry, Jupiter in Aquarius. Jupiter is now stationed direct at this point. And Jupiter at 22 degrees is in kind of a wide trine to the sun at 27 degrees. And that's also very positive and could be very helpful to smooth things out around this full moon. Also, Saturn at 6 degrees of Aquarius, also now direct, is going to be trining Mercury in Libra. So again, this gives us, some nice air energy to work with to smooth things out, let's just say. Because again, the energy is pretty intense right now. Even if you look at the chart just without even knowing the planets, I don't know if it's just me, but I usually pull up charts, and before I even look at what the heck is going on or what I even know logically, I'm like, whoa, I get an impression. And for October, the two words that I got for the charts I've looked at were implosion and fireworks. And I don't mean literal. I just mean on the emotional scale, because it was always around the full and new moons that I picked this up. So that's a chart, just in case you were interested in that. So I'm going to actually take this off now. Okay. So I'm so excited about my tricks that I'm learning. I'm not the best with technology, even though I think I'm better than I think I am, but I'm better with the creative stuff. So it's been a journey here. I'm trying to figure this all out, but it's pretty cool. So I'm going to pull a tarot card for this full moon in Aries, and I'm using my Nightmare Before Christmas tarot deck. They're really cool. I whip these out usually every October. Let's get a tarot card for this full moon. All right. Okay. We got the Six of Presents, which in this deck, the Six of Presents would be the Six of Pentacles. And interestingly enough, or not, because we are under Libra season, and Libra is the sign of the scales of balance, and the Six of Pentacles is all about balance and also imbalance. And so this is a time where, and this has been a theme pretty much this whole month. We talked about this in the new moon video, I believe, or I don't know, one of the videos that I did was about the energy of our connections, our relationships of all kinds, professional, personal, and it's all about the balance and imbalance factor and qualities where we're recognizing where we've been giving too much and receiving maybe not enough, or giving too little. There's just these questions that are coming up around with the giving and receiving in our connections. And in situations where you feel like you've been giving, you may be pulling back saying, wait a minute, I don't think I'm being received the way I'm wanting to be, or I don't think I'm being respected the way that I'm wanting to be. And conveniently, you saw me shuffle. This is why I shuffle on camera, so I'm not picking these cards out in advance. The Six of Pentacles about balance. Let's talk about the duality of Libra and Aries, which are these two signs that we're dealing with right now. The sun in Libra, the moon in Aries, being highlighted, being illuminated, right? Aries is the sign of the self, because it's all about the self. And then Libra is the sign of the other. And the opposite signs pull from each other. I just had this conversation with a client the other day, because I'm a Taurus and she was a Scorpio, and we were talking, and I said, even though you don't necessarily have any major placements in Taurus, Taurus does rule over a specific point in your chart, and you're the opposite sign of that. So you're going to pull into the Taurus energy at times. They're very similar in a lot of ways, even though they're opposite. And so I'll say the same here for, Aries and Libra, or whatever signs are opposite of each other, that when one side is too imbalanced, it's time to learn to pull in from the other side, if I'm explaining that correctly. So in other words, in these connections in your life right now, or where things are coming up for you, where you're feeling this imbalance, instead of saying, that's it, I'm shutting it down, I'm not going to do anything for that person anymore. No, that's not really what it's about. It's more about, okay, let me stop, let me reevaluate, let me reassess this and say, how can I make this more balanced so that I can still, be the giving person that I am, but also making sure that I'm allowing myself to receive. Because again, remember, with Aries and Libra, there's there's this constant balance between selfishness and selflessness. And I do truly feel and believe that both signs can integrate both and work with both of those energies. And that's what that Six of Pentacles energy card is all about. And that is what this full moon is all about and the times that we are under. I hope that this has helped you. I have a couple of videos that I linked below. The new moon back on October 6th, you may want to go back and listen to it just to see how things have played out for you. Also Mercury retrograde. Mercury will be stationing direct actually. Oh, I'm sorry. At the time of this video, Mercury is still retrograde, but Mercury will be direct. I forgot to mention that after the full moon. So Mercury will station direct officially on October the 18th, but will still be in its shadow until early November. So if you want to check out that video about Mercury retrograde through the signs, I've also linked that below. And Mars, the current new Mars cycle, and also tips on how to protect your energy. So I really hope that this has helped you. Take really good care of yourselves, honor wherever you are at on your journey. And don't forget to put some energy into your full moon wishes, what you wish to release and what you wish to bring in. I also have a full moon healing circle on October 20th. I think there might still be some spaces left. You can find that on my events page at lisasalvatore.com. Bye guys.